Hey guys, how's it going? Ghostly Rich here today. So we're going to be switching out our transmission mount. That's our mount that looks like this. It's underneath our battery box, so it's going to be a lot of fun. First thing you're going to want to do. For me, as you can see, I have a whole different battery setup than you're probably going to have. As you can see, I've upgraded a whole lot. So what you're going to do for your style of battery probably, is you're going to have those dimples on there. And each side of them is going to have a 10 mil bolt. So first thing you're going to want to do is go to your negative side, which will be on this side, and you'll loosen that 10 mil bolt with a ratchet, and then you're going to pull the negative off. Then you're going to do the same with this side. You're going to loosen the 10 mil bolt on your positive now, and then you're going to pull the positive off. Stay tuned and I'll have those off. The next thing we're going to have to do, just to go into it, is you'll see a bolt right here. You're going to have to loosen, I believe this is a 10 mil also, but it could be an 8. Not 100% sure yet. And if you look at this cover, we're going to have to remove it. Now, to remove it, you're going to have to squeeze the side here. You squeeze it in, and then you can see just this side stuck in. Might be a little bit tricky for me to do with the camera in my hand, but there. So as you can see, it's just little barbs. After you pull this up, you'll see another 8 or 10 mil bolt right here. You're going to loosen that one off. So this brace is off. Once this brace is off, it's time to take out our battery. So if you have a handle, you're going to pull it up that way. Or if you can get your fingers around it, it's going to be really tough, but you'll have to pull it up that way. So you can see mine has hooks, so I'll be wrapping a rope around here to pull my battery out. So stay tuned for the next section. One quick side note for you guys is, if you are going to be doing this and you have a aftermarket stereo, you'll want to take a picture of all your settings. So go through your settings menu and make sure, that way if you have a custom EQ or anything like that, then you don't lose your settings, or well, you are going to lose your settings, but this way you can put them back in. So that's one thing I will recommend to you. Okay, stay tuned. At the bottom of your battery box, you're going to see 3 10mm bolts after you've popped out everything like I told you to, which was 10mm on the side of this post, which is your negative. Take that off. As you can see, mine's all tucked away over here, and I've got more than one negative, but in your case, you'll just have the one little ring terminal you slide off, put over here. And then on this side, you'll pop that other ring terminal off, and like I said, you'll have that metal bracket, which is right across here, 10 mil, 10 mil, and that should pull off as soon as you pull this plastic cover off, which I just showed you as well. So once that's out, then you can pull your battery out. Now, hopefully you still have the handle. If not, you might have to jimmy rig something so you can pull it out, because batteries can be quite heavy. But once you get that battery out, underneath 3 10s, we're just going to loosen those off and we'll go from there. So next step, pull out those 3 10 mil bolts. Alright, so the next thing we're going to be doing is, if you take a look at these little tabs right here, you're going to squeeze these with a pair of pliers. When you squeeze them, they pop out, and then this wire will pop out on the other side, as you can see. So you squeeze here and it lets go of the box. There's 2 here, so you'll do it on both of those. Now I'm going to show you how to disconnect these clips off the ECU. Why? Because the ECU is mounted to the box, and to access it you'll have to do this. Don't worry, there's no battery attached, so we don't have to worry about anything like that. So first thing you're going to want to do is get in here with a flat blade, and we're going to separate the clip right in the center. And it might be too hard for me to do with this. Just like that. Perfect. And then you're going to pull this up. See? You can see where it kind of locks onto right here. So you lift it up a little bit so you can get it off the lock, and then you lift it off. Now both these are out of the way. Now, you're going to get this out from over here. This out from over here. And now, like I said, just get these out, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so pop these 2 pieces out. Hey guys, so the next thing we're going to want to do is, now that we've got all that stuff taken off, we're going to want to lift this back cover off. So it'll usually be in this crease right here. What you do is you lift it up, and you have to get around this one nipple piece right here. Once you get the off of there, we wiggle this loose, and we can take this piece out. I hope that kind of shows you. The reason why is we have some wires that are right there. We're going to have to squeeze this out. Get this moving a little bit. As you can see, I got wires zap strapped everywhere, so I'm probably going to have to do a little bit more than you're going to have to get stuff out. We also got one more thing right there. Okay, perfect. So basically what you're going to be doing is wiggling this out next. get it out right here. Ta-da! So from this point, you're going to want to clean that out, of course. From here, look, it's our transmission mount. So, next thing you're going to want to do is, you'll see the 2 bolts right here. Both 10 mils, I believe. They could be bigger. And these look like they're about 17s. So we're going to pop these 2 17s and these 2 10s to get this piece off. And, yeah. Actually, you know what? Before we do this part, we're going to go underneath the car and we're going to jack it up. So the next thing you're going to want to do is jack the car up. I'll post a video right here if you don't know how to jack your car up, and we'll go from there, and I'll show you what we're going to do under the car. Okay? Stay tuned. Alright guys, so once you have your car jacked up, you're going to see you have this plastic plate, also known as your mud or splash guard, and you're going to be taking that off. So you're going to pop out this Phillips. These are going to have Phillips all the way along the front. There should be like 5 of them, and then we're going to have 3 10mm bolts right in the center, and then you'll have 2 10s on the sides, 2 10s on the sides. Now let me show you where I popped that out from, just in case you're like, what's going on here, Rich? As you can see, my jack stands are up, and we have a jack right here for the next part that I'm going to show you, but this is where it would go. So as you can see, you don't have to take off the side flashings or the wheel guards. We leave that in, and you just pull out all the ones along the front, all those little Phillips head screws, and then you're going to pull off those 3 10 mils, which go right into the bottom of your radiator, which you'll see on the splash guard, and then there's 2 things on the sides here, which you'll be taking the bolts off. So, once we're there, now we have to try and find a good spot on our transmission to lift a little bit, and the reason why is we don't want the tranny moving too much. So I'm going to find a good spot, and then I'll start this up and we'll go from there. So as you can see here, I now have this on the jack. I took a piece of wood and I braced it between here and here, because this is the seam of the transmission. I found a flat piece here and a flat place here, and I wanted it to make sure that it doesn't roll on us or anything like that when we're doing it. If you changed your other 2 mounts, which I've already done, they're going to hold pretty well if they're brand spanking new, but this helps so the transmission doesn't move too much when we're unbolting stuff. So once we have this done, stay tuned and I will show you what we're going to do up top. Okay. Next thing to do is, if you remember, I pointed out these 2 17mm bolts. You're going to want to remove those. There's the 2 10mm that are up here, and there's 2 17mm down there. You're not going to see it 100% right now. I already got them out. But once you get that, you'll see that when you lift this, you have a lot of things trying to come out. The reason why is, if you don't have a cold air intake like me, we're going to have to pull out our air box, because there's a bunch of stuff that's actually hooked onto the air box. So the air box needs to come out with that plate. And I was taking a look to see if there was an easier way to do this, but there is not if you don't have a cold air intake. So if you do have a cold air intake, you'll see that there's 2 bolts on this L bracket, which I'll show you later on in this, but that you're going to loosen, and then this whole plate comes out and you don't have to worry about this part. But if you do have an air box, stay tuned and I will show you. First thing you're going to want to do, pop all 4 of these clips. One here, one here, one over here, and you'll have one right here. Once you unpop all those clips, you'll see this kind of moves around a little bit easier. And then we're going to have to disconnect here our MAF sensor, which I'll do afterwards. I will show you after I get this unplugged and some of this stuff moved out what I all did. So stay tuned. So, for getting your MAF airflow sensor out, or your mass airflow sensor out, you'll squeeze on the back of this tab back here, and then it'll slip out. Be very careful with this sensor. It's very finicky. Next thing you're going to see is this pipe right here, and you're going to push these in, these blues, and you'll see that they've got this little barb, and you'll work them past this plastic, and you'll just work that. Work this side a little bit, work that side a little bit, and then it'll pop out. Then you'll pop these out of here, which grip on it, and then you'll slide this off the back of the engine, which is right there. You can see it right there. Simple little clip, and that one actually just came right off for me. So yeah, if you're having a problem with that, then you'll just squeeze on these blue tabs, and again this hose will just pop right out. I'll be taking a quick look at that. So once this is out and we have this loose, you're going to take a big Phillips and you're going to loosen this bolt as much as you can and work this off. Once you work it off, Make sure all your tabs are popped like I showed you before, and you should be able to lift this right out like so. Ta-da! Put that down. We'll pull this down, or I'm going to just pull my air filter out right now so I can see in our box here. And now I'm going to see how I'm going to get this part out right from here. As you can see, I've already lifted this off of here. And just going to go from here. Once I get this out, I'll show you how I did it. So, as you can see, I got it out. So, as you can see, there's this bracket here, which is going to have two clips on it, and you're going to have to squeeze them just like you did with the sides here, or sorry, the sides on the box. They're going to be clips, and I can show you because they're right here. See these? You squeeze them with the pliers and then you work it out, and there's two of them. There's one here and there's one here, and when you work those out, then you move them out of the way. Then this is the strategic part. You have to try, and you're going to have to jimmy rig it so it comes out this way. So the box will come out this way with the plate attached, and once you get it out, you have full access to the transmission mount right here. Ta-da! And now starts our final part of this journey. Wow, as you can see, I can see air right through my transmission mount. That's not looking too good. Well, I'll take a look at it. Maybe it comes stock that way. Yeah, that's it. No. Well, I'll see when I pop it out. I'll see how much damage. Since I've already gone this far, doesn't matter. I've already got that other one, and it's going in no matter what. So, the next thing to do is to undo our big 17 mil bolt right here, which is holding the whole bloody thing in. So, best thing to do is to start to loosen this up, and we'll pull this old mount right out of here so we can take a look and see how it is on the other side. Cool. So we got it out, and it was a good time to do it. As you can see, it was starting to rip. I started moving this around, and yeah, it was starting to rip, so could have gone at any point. Don't know. With a rip like that, who knows. Still, this might chop down some vibrations. I don't really have a lot anymore because I already redid the passenger and the torque mount on the back end of the motor. If you haven't done that yet, I highly suggest you do it. And so, since I already got this out, I'm going to pop the new one in. Might as well, right? So from this point, it's going to get a little bit more tricky. As I put it together, if I find anything that I think you should know, I will definitely show you as I put it back together. Also, a thing I'm going to recommend you is I did a video on how to clean your throttle body. You've already got this thing so taken apart, you might as well do that too. If you have a spare toothbrush and some throttle body cleaner, or if you're in walking distance, go to the store and grab some throttle body cleaner, because you might as well clean your throttle body while you're at it. And if you're wondering how to do it all the way, be sure to check out my video. So stay tuned for the next section. So, as you can see, we got our big long bolt here. I've already put some thread lock on here. I want to make sure that when I put this in, I don't have to worry about the bolt coming loose. I'm going to put that back up right here. And I've dropped the mount in. Now look, it doesn't line up. So you're probably freaking out at this point, but you shouldn't. The reason why is what you do is you move this with your hand. You grab the transmission, solid point like right here. Then you move it, and then the bolt's going to line up. Once the bolt lines up, slowly hand thread it in with your hand, and then if you want to, you can hold this up and then start torquing it with your hand in and go from there. Just make sure you do not strip this, because that would suck very bad for yourself. So just grab this, move it. If you have a friend, you could always get them. They don't have to get underneath, because that might scare the hell out of them. But you could always get someone to hold this or push up against here, so that way you could just thread it in with your hand and get them to hold it in the right position, so that bolt lines up right here, and this mount moves around a little bit, so it does give you a little bit of play. So yeah, just make sure you don't grab any pipes or anything like that. You do not want to break those out. Just grab, torque up a little bit, and line that bolt up. Okay? Cool. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so the next thing you're going to want to make sure you do is make sure you torque that bolt to spec, which is between 75 and 80 foot-pounds of torque. I've seen a lot of guys complain that this bolt can actually go loose and it'll actually drop your transmission on the floor. You don't want that. So what you should do to make sure none of this happens to you is make sure that you have yourself a torque wrench and go whichever you think is best for your bolt. There is a lot of people saying that do 80 foot-pounds of torque, so I'll probably be trying to do that. And so yeah, set her at 80 foot-pounds, and then after that it's time for reassembly. Also, while you're going through here, quick thing, make sure you are Loctiting whatever you're doing over here, especially this bolt. This bolt you are going to want to Loctite. I used blue Loctite, which you've seen earlier. Some people are recommending you use red. I know the craziness of trying to get red to break loose, so that's completely up to you. I used blue, and I used a bit more than usual, so that's what I would recommend. If you want to go red to make sure this bolt doesn't come undone, that is completely up to you. It's not going to back out, but good luck when it comes time to ever changing this mount again. That's all I can say. Alright, so stay tuned. Let's start putting this back together. So, after that, I put this back in again. You know how tricky it is. You just have to slide her in from that angle, make sure you don't crush any wires. And then you click in that bottom one, yeah, click in the top one. And once you click the wire holders in, now you just put these bolts in. I set my torque wrench to 55 when I put those in. Some people say you can put them higher. Again, I threw a little bit of Loctite on them. These don't actually hold the transmission, so I'm not worried about these. This is just the transmission engine, or the battery holder, the battery box holder. So, and it holds the air filter box. So just tighten those to where you'd like to and go from there. So once you get that done, next part is let's put our air box back together. As you go and do this, also make sure you're cleaning and wiping up stuff that you're not going to get at again for a while, so might as well clean up while you're down there. Okay, once you've gotten to this point, as you can see, I've got the battery box back in, I got everything. I'm going to show you quick connections that you want to make sure are 100% connected before you even think about trying to start your car. First one is you want to make sure this tube's back in. It just clicks back in, and remember, it clicks on the back of the motor here. So one clicks here, sink it back in here, click it back in here, and then you can, when you get the box lid back in, of course you can put those back in. Those aren't a big thing to check before you start, but it's a good thing. Just keeps all the wires around. And make sure your ECU is 100% connected. You do not want to try and start the car without the ECU. Not that it'll do anything, because yeah, it's just one of those things you're going to want to make sure ECU's back in and it's connected. There's no way to screw up the plugs, really. They're made to a certain length. The longer one goes to the far end, the shorter one goes to this end. After you've got all the electrical stuff like your MAF sensor plugged back in, at this point and of course make sure your filter and everything's in, but once you get to this point, what you're going to want to do is connect all the positive stuff first. Put everything on the positive, and then you're going to slide on the negative. So if you don't have all this crap, you're just going to have your positive ring terminal. Put it back on, put that 10 mil back, and then from there put your 10 mil back on the negative. Negative always goes last, and don't be scared if you might see an arc for a second. Don't get scared from that. It's totally normal. So once you get that going, make sure that you've got everything clean from all the belts. You don't want anything in there. You can put this cover back on if you want to, as you can see, and if you had all that battery crap, you can put that back on, but it's not essential. Once you got it to this point and everything's buttoned up like your air filter, go in, start her up, make sure she starts, and who knows, you might enjoy a lot less vibrations. After you do that, you can make sure you clean everything up here, and then after that, you're going to want to put that pan back on the bottom, with which is very easy. Remember, bolt here, bolt on each corner, so you've got 4 in the corners, 3 in the center, and these are all the 10 mils, and then these are all those little, I guess they're 8s, I think they're 8s, but yeah, they're little Phillips 8 mils, and you'll put those back on. After that, drop your car on the ground and you can drive around. Make sure you feel it. Now, if you notice that you have a way more give after a while, let's say you're driving around for a week and all of a sudden you're like, you know what, it's gotten a lot more, maybe you feel a little bit weird, you're going to want to take this apart again. You're going to want to check that center bolt. Make sure that center bolt is down, because the last thing you want is your transmission on the ground. Like I said, if you put red Loctite or blue Loctite and you crank that puppy down to 80 foot-pounds of torque, you should be good. But make sure, that's one thing you're going to want to keep in the back of your mind. Other than that, if you're also interested in your other mounts, this one, which is your passenger side engine mount, this one tends to go a lot at the time. I mean, I have a video on it and it literally falls apart in my hand, so I'm going to post that link right here so you can check that out. And then, of course, that'll also cover the torque mount on the bottom, which you should do at the exact same time. I think that's about it. That's all I'm going to really tell you about. I already told you guys about the throttle body. Again, be sure to go through my other videos. Thanks again for watching. Press the like button if it helped you out, and press subscribe if you want to see some more Mazda 3 videos or any videos really. I post them on all cars. So thanks again for watching. Peace out.